In the YouTube video 7 Days Stranded on an Island, the group faces numerous challenges as they try to survive on a deserted island for 7 days after their boat leaves them stranded. They build a shelter and gather resources, but must be cautious of a dangerous tree with poisonous sap. They spend the second day upgrading their shelter and searching for new resources, but are plagued by bugs during the second night. In an attempt to catch chickens and explore a nearby island, they encounter more obstacles, including losing their rope and dealing with a damaged shelter during a storm. Despite their exhaustion and longing to go home, the group manages to maintain a positive attitude and celebrate their final night on the island. Throughout their journey, they express their gratitude to their viewers for their support. The group finds themselves stranded after their boat leaves, leaving them to survive on a deserted island for the next 7 days. They immediately begin preparing for the night by building a shelter and gathering materials, but must be careful as the island is home to a dangerous tree with poisonous sap. The group spends the day preparing their camp, including building a fire pit and constructing a shelter. However, they soon discover that sunscreen is flammable and must be careful with their use of it. The objective for day 2 is to build a bigger and rainproof shelter, and the group gathers resources and upgrades their shelter, while Mac and Nolan search for new seats and coconuts. However, the second night brings new challenges as the group is plagued by bugs that bite them throughout the night, leaving Chandler and the speaker with the worst of it and no sleep. At 5 minutes, the boys, left unsupervised, decide to catch chickens using a large net they found on the beach. Mac takes the lead in creating the trap, while the others help cut the net and hoist it up. After hours of waiting, Mac finally catches a chicken, which they name Brian. The boys then decide to swim to a nearby island, wasting water and energy, and spend the night preparing for an approaching storm. Despite some initial hesitation, they manage to survive the storm and return to their island. The morning after, their routine consists of complaining about their sleep, using the bathroom, and eating bagged meals. The boys then attempt to catch fish by having Mac act as a human motorboat to drag the others out to deeper waters. At 10 minutes, the group faces several challenges while trying to survive on the island. They lose their rope, which leaves them stranded in the water, and are unable to catch enough fish to sustain themselves. Despite this setback, they manage to catch one fish after hours of fishing. Later, they discover a goat on the beach, but Jimmy scares it away, much to Mac's frustration. Determined to explore the ruins on the island, they set out, but not before filling up their water bottles with coconut water. Jim reveals that he used Western Union to pay the boat guy who dropped him off on the island, and they continue their climb up the mountain, with Jim sharing more information about Western Union along the way. As they reach the top of the ruins, Jim reveals that he had paid someone to bring a yellow box up there, which contains a surprise for the group. At 15 minutes, Mr. Beast and his friends get lost in the dark forest. The group encounters various challenges while making their way back to camp. They are lost in the forest and argue over which direction to take, adding to their confusion. To make matters worse, it starts raining, making the terrain slippery and increasing their risk of injury. They also discover that the trees above them secrete poisonous sap when it rains, forcing them to be extra cautious. Despite these setbacks, they eventually make it back to camp, only to find that their shelter has been damaged by the storm and is now filled with water. The group is left to deal with the situation and face another sleepless night. At 20 minutes, the speakers express their exhaustion and dissatisfaction with their situation after 6 days of struggling on the island. The rain had been brutal, leaving them feeling cold and miserable. Their mental health was beginning to suffer, and they were longing to go home. However, they decided to try and improve their mood by treating themselves to canned cobbler for breakfast. This unorthodox meal helped them return to a more positive outlook. They realized that despite the hardships, the trip had also been filled with fun and adventure. With day 7 on the horizon, they celebrated their final night with a massive fire, looking forward to leaving the island behind. The speakers expressed their gratitude to their viewers for watching and supporting their content.